Hello and welcome. This is Kristen from the Online Selling Show, and I am here today to talk about what does it mean by selling across multiple platforms. I've been selling for 22 years on eBay. I started in Amazon when it came on board pretty much with media first, and then it got into, they started testing out what's known as the FBA model. As today, I really am not going to go into FBA. I cut that out of our sales methods several years ago, and we do what's known as fulfillment by merchant. If you're not familiar with FBA, it's fulfillment by Amazon, and that basically says that you send bulk boxes into the Amazon warehouses, so when the goods sell, Amazon warehouse staff is responsible for sending it to the end buyer. Where fulfillment by merchant is the item is in my possession, and when it sells, I pack the box and I send it to the end buyer. Obviously, fulfillment by Amazon has some perks, but there's a lot of expenses, a lot of considerations, and there is a lot of changes that have come up with that every year. And because I haven't done it in years, I have no idea what the current ones are. So I do not want to get into discussing what the FBA model is. I highly, highly recommend, if that's something you're considering, that you do your due diligence and you go out and you watch these other people who are currently doing it in the marketplace before you make the decision to do that. So when I'm talking about what does it mean to sell across multiple sales channels, that means you have, I'm going to just say one unit. I'm going to say you have that one book that you want to sell. And it's okay, but I think that, I don't want to just put all my eggs in one basket. I don't want to just put it on eBay. Maybe I shouldn't say it's a book. Let's say we have a counted cross-stitch kit. Okay? So you're selling something in the crafting world. A pair of scissors. Maybe it's a pair of scissors. That's a good one. We'll say it's a pair of scissors. So now you say, okay, well, I could sell this on eBay, but maybe I would do better if I went and I put it over on Etsy. So that means you've taken that same pair of scissors and now you've moved it into the whole marketplace of Etsy for all of those people and their buyers. You have it on eBay, so that has it for that whole pool of buyers. And then some people start getting to they start hearing about Mercari, and maybe I should do it to Mercari, and then maybe I should do it to Poshmark. And first of all, you have to understand is, will that product work for every one of these platforms? Now, Poshmark used to be just a place for things that had to do with fashion, clothing, belts, shoes, makeup, that type of product. I do believe they have expanded quite a bit more, but in my example, I don't know, would scissors go there? I'd have to go and do some research if my scissors could be sold over there. It could be sold on Etsy. I know it could be sold because Etsy was supposed to be handmade, but I don't know what Etsy's doing anymore. But there used to be all these different platforms and stuff. So you start thinking well, if I had more exposure, I have better exposure. Oh my God, I'm going to be able to make so many more sales or get such a better price or sell it faster, or whatever your reasoning is for why you want to go across multiple sales platforms. Here's what my experience has told me. And being in a wholesale business model, if you're not familiar with, I go and I buy from people who are producing, importing new goods over. It would be no different than where Walmart's going to get their goods, that store that was downtown in your town, that's the local, gift shop. I'm buying from the same pool of people who they're buying from. And generally when I buy this stuff, I pay what is known as the wholesale cost. And then typically that is doubled in price, and I sell it at that double price on these multiple platforms. Now, I'm going to tell you from experience, if you're going to make that your business model, you need to have some kind of automated, not just you manually doing this, I'm talking automated system to go in when something sells and end those listings on those other marketplaces. Because what I'm talking about is, if that pair of scissors sells on Mercari, it has to be listed and you put it on 4 marketplaces. Somehow those listings need to be taken off of eBay, Poshmark, and Etsy pretty much immediately. Because what's going to happen is, as I mentioned in my series about what's the difference between selling on eBay and Amazon, they're not going to feel very great if you keep going in and canceling because maybe you forgot. Maybe you were away from home when it sold, and then you realized you had to hurry up and make get the package out to the mailman, And then you forgot, like your process said you were supposed to end it before you started packing it, but now you were so busy because you were trying to get the package out, you forgot. I'm going to guarantee you it's going to get very complicated very fast, and you're going to be sitting there having to do like physical inventory to go back and recall like what should have gotten listed and what hadn't been and that type of stuff. I personally pay for my wholesale business one company who does my management between eBay, Amazon, and my Shopify store. And I'm going to tell you, with the volume of what I sell and these bigger platforms and everything else, I still oversell stuff. And I mean, I'm paying a pretty penny for this service. Some of it's the fault of the company. Some of it's the fault of each of the management company. Some of it's the fault of the platforms that they're in. Some of it, honestly, is the fault of the buyer. And you're thinking, how could that be? Because I'm going to tell you, I have product that people may want two of, and they're going to go out there and they're savvy enough that they'll find it on eBay and they'll put it in their cart, and they'll find it on Amazon and put it in their cart, and they buy that stuff so fast that this high-tech inventory management system can't catch up to alert the other platform fast enough that it's sold on one. So before you know it, this buyer who's determined they're going to get two is now bought from me on two different platforms almost simultaneously, and I still only have one. And now I got to go back and tell them, like, hey, and I've got to determine, am I canceling eBay, or am I canceling Amazon, or am I canceling both? Because now the buyer realizes they're really not going to get two because I don't have it. So I say all this that when you can start considering, like, oh, I want to sell as many places as I want to sell, there's drawbacks. And you have to stop and think about is, how are you automatically going to be able to handle this? And I do understand that there are these up and coming places now that are allowing to do this cross listing, but it's not just the cross listing that you need to be determining, but are they doing the cross management? And what I'm talking about is, okay, maybe you have a listing on Poshmark and they'll do a cross listing to eBay, which just means that they're taking that data that you put in, the size, the brand, the color, the price, and they're moving it over to eBay to create a listing there. But now are they doing the cross management, which means that when it sells on Poshmark or eBay, are they telling the other site that it's sold so it ends? And then the next question is, how quickly does this happen? Because if they're going to tell you that it's on a 15-minute cycle or a 30-minute cycle, that's too long. I'm telling you, I've never seen anything like it. The minute I'll have a product up, and I had it on Amazon, and Amazon can't even keep up with the product. I'll have 3 of, let's say, I don't know, hairbrush over there. And those hairbrushes could have been sitting there for 6 months. And all of a sudden, a buyer buys one. And then before I know it, I have a second buyer and a third buyer. Because now your sales rank has gone up, and you're being higher in the sales ranks, meaning you're being shown in a better position in the sales ranks for when the buyers are looking for something. And now all of a sudden, I've sold 4 of them. And it's like all 4 of them happened. All those sales happened on Amazon. And I'm like, how did that happen? I've only had 3. You knew I had 3, but yet somehow they'll sell 4. And it happens. I'm telling you, it happens. So if you're going to get into selling across multiple platforms, you have to be understanding that you are going to oversell. And how are you going to handle that? You have to look into, like I said, what is Poshmark's position on cancellation? At what point does it jeopardize your account possibly getting shut down? Because generally it's going to first affect your company in a way that they're going to reduce your exposure on being shown to buyers to purchase from. That's usually the first thing they want to do, is make you lower in the search ranks. And then they're going to discuss at some point closing the account if you keep having these problems where you're canceling orders for not having the goods. So when I talk about selling across multiple platforms, I'm not opposed to it. I do it every day of the week. You just need to find the right service. Make sure you're going to the right platforms, because again, if you're selling something that's not supposed to be on that platform to begin with, just save yourself the effort. don't even bother, because there's nothing more frustrating than spending the time to get everything listed and then have it all deactivated, because the sites are now getting so sophisticated. They're knowing and understanding what products are, so they're not going to want to have product on there if it's not supposed to be. And it just doesn't do you well to try and, it never fails. You'll get yourself going and you'll be so excited and you're getting sales, and then the listing gets shut down because it wasn't supposed to be there to begin with. So do your research. When we're in this thrifting resell mode, you're probably saying, I don't know how that's possible, but there's a lot of people that are cross posting. You may start getting into retail arbitrage and start wanting to do, because now you start thinking, well, I can just keep selling this. I can just keep going back to the store. I can keep buying it. Oh, this is going to be great. That may be, but one of my suggestions are, if that's what you think is going to be the model, set one aside. If you have 6 of them, set one aside. Say you only have 5, because I'm going to guarantee you the week that you really sell that 6th, let's say the 6th one, or the 7th one in my example, and you think you can just go to the store, that's when it's not going to be there. The reason they're coming to buy it from you is probably because they've already been to all their stores and they can't find it. So if you think that you can just always run right out in the retail arbitrage world and just go get another one, probably going to be a problem. So I don't mean to be pessimistic. I try to be more realistic. I try to help you with finding solutions, and I try to give you all the information that I can so you can make an educated decision on how you want to handle your business. By all means, I am not going to tell you how to run your business. I understand there's a multitude of different reasons and how and why people run their businesses the way they do. I wish you very, very highly successful returns and prosperity in your business. If you have any questions about multi-channel listing, I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. But again, try to think things out before you get yourself in a bind, is I guess what all of this means for me and what I'm saying to you. And I would appreciate a thumbs up if you got some valid or good information out of this. Please leave me some comments. I'm sure there's a lot more I haven't even talked about or even touched on in this video that has to do with this topic. And I would really, really appreciate if you could do me the favor of clicking that subscribe button down below. It's free. Helps me out because it's going to help me build this channel, but it's also going to put future videos that I create into your feed as they get uploaded. So I'm going to say bye for now, and I'll catch you in the next one.